Hey everyone, this is Anthony from Syracuse Martial Arts Academy and the Gathering of Sabers. Now I'm going to be doing a video series on saber tricking. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, no long explanations, but before we go on to that, let's talk about the type of saber that you might need. Now, again, when it comes to that, it's really personal preference. I'm going to tell you what I use, and then maybe you can use what I use as inspiration towards, getting a saber that you like ready for saber tricking. So what I use is, let's start with the blade. Right now I'm using a photon blade. It's a 32-inch medium grade photon blade. So here's the blade that I'm using. It's got a bullet tip on it. Whether it has a bullet tip or not doesn't matter. Of course, with bullet tip I will not duel with this, but this video is not about dueling. So again, this is a 32-inch medium grade photon blade. The saber that I'm using, I'll get really close for you. This is a custom-made JQ Sabers Pilgrim. My students gave this to me as a birthday gift because I admired the ones that they had, and they surprised me with it. It's very, very small, okay, the diameter, well balanced, comes with all these different lights, and I love this saber. So this is what I use, okay? My balance point for this particular saber is right about an inch into the actual saber part. As you can see, there's my balance point. Again, some people like their balance point out here, some here. Again, this is all personal preference, okay? So that is it. This is what I use. Personally, I don't like to do saber tricking with heavy grade, but it's up to you. Whatever you feel comfortable with. Also, length is again a personal choice because I'm only 5'5". I like a 32-inch blade. If you're taller, you might go longer. If you're shorter, shorter. It all depends on you. I've seen people do some amazing tricks with 24-inch blades, 40-inch blades. That's all up to you. So with that said, let's move on. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a few warnings. When you're doing this kind of work, you want to make sure first and foremost that the blade retention screw is firmly in there, okay? If it's too loose, you could be doing a trick and the blade will pop off. Second, and this is a very big warning, if you value the things in your house or apartment, you might want to do this stuff outside. If you have a large flat screen TV or chandeliers or anything breakable in your house, probably not a good idea to do this stuff inside your house. I have the comfort of a martial arts studio, so I could throw this around and not really break much, probably break myself. So with that warning, make sure you do this in a safe place. Okay, one more thing, and I've harped on this in other videos. When you do your orbits or your twirling, one of the things that I'm really big on is not flaring the fingers. But of course, this is saber tricking. It really doesn't matter. Whatever we have to do to make the trick look cool, it's not about dueling, it's about making it look cool. So with tricking, it's really up to you. Do what you want. Personally, I don't like to flare the fingers, but that's me. Okay, now we're going to move on to the basic orbit or twirl. Okay, when I teach this, typically everybody just has a saber in their hand, and if they can do it with no problem, we just keep going. However, if there are issues, we take the saber away. So we're going to start with taking the saber away just to kind of get the basic idea. Okay, so what we're going to do is a front twirl, both downward and upward. Okay, so what I like to do is just make a casual fist, but stick the thumb up. I'm going to bring the thumb here. Okay, so again, it's the front of my chest. When I go forward and down and up, I'm going to be making circles with the thumb, keeping the thumb in line with my knuckles. Okay, I'm not going to do this. So my thumb is going to be doing this. Okay, that is a downward front orbit. Okay, so from a side view, it looks like this. Okay, now to reverse that, I just go upward front orbit. Okay, there you go. And if you have to move your elbow and stuff like that, go for it. And again, this is all about just making it look cool. Okay? From a side view, looks like this. All right? So if you can do that comfortably, forward, downward, and upward in the front, now we add the saber. Okay? So, when we, remember, the blade is the thumb. So, I'm going like this, in front of my body. All right, let me back up here to show you how it looked before. In front of the body, and it's going downward. If I reverse that, upward, in front of the body. Okay, now don't smack yourself in the head. Make sure that you go to the front of the body. Downward and upward. Okay, that's our first orbit. The front, downward, and upward orbit. Okay, now the next orbit is the back orbit. Okay, so front, back. We're doing the back one. Again, thumb. What I'm going to be doing is the downward, right? But it's going to go behind me now. So the circles I'm tracing are behind. Okay, you notice my elbow has to come in a little bit, and I have to kick my hand outside my body a little bit, because if I go like this, I'll be hitting myself. So I go here. This is the downward behind my back. I can do it the other way. This is the upward behind the back. Okay? If we do it from the side view here, we have the downward behind the back and the upward behind the back. Okay, you notice I have to twist my hand like this. Okay? So you're going to need a little bit of wrist flexibility there. Now, we add the saber, just like we did before. Okay? Again, from the front view, behind the back with the downward orbit. Again, the blade is my thumb. So if you always think of the blade as your thumb and you just practice the thumb thing alone, you pretty much get it. And then here's the upward. And this is a really popular one. A lot of people like to do this one. You'll see them just going like this. Okay? It's a lot of fun. And of course the side view of that, okay, the behind, the back, forward or upward and downward orbit or twirl. Fun stuff. Okay, so now that you learn the basic twirls in the front and the back, we're going to learn how to put those two together. And now again, if you feel you don't need to do it with just the thumb, then go right ahead and start with your saber. But we're going to go with the thumb again, okay? Side view. We're going to do the downward one, okay? So downward in the front, then downward in the back. So I'm always going front, back, while maintaining that downward rotation. Down front, down back, down front, down back, okay? Really, really cool from a side view. Down front, down back, down front, down back. Okay, now the upward, okay? Upward front, upward back, upward front, upward back. Upward front from the side view, upward back from the side view here. So upward front, upward back, upward front, upward back. And of course, you guessed it, got to add that saber in there. So what I call this is a basic figure eight, okay? Because when you look at it from the front, it looks like it's tracing a figure eight. Of course, that's if you really make it big. I tend to like to keep it pretty narrow, so it's a very narrow figure eight. So again, blade is my thumb. Downward front, downward back. Downward front, downward back. From the side view, downward front, downward back. This is what we have here. We just repeat that cycle. Okay, it's an endless cycle. And it looks really cool when you start speeding it up. But don't go fast if you're not ready for it, because otherwise things go flying. Okay, now the upward from the side view. Upward front, upward back, upward front, upward back. From the side, upward front, upward back, front, back. This again, very popular. Notice I put my hand here or here. because if I go like this, ow. Okay, so I tend to want to keep this hand out of the way. Typically when I'm doing stuff, this hand is close by, it's ready, because you never know when I want to do something with that. Okay, so there you go, basic twirls. Have fun with that. Hey everybody, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. We really appreciate all the thumbs up we can get, and also share it with your friends. And also, if you're really curious about what we do, visit us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/thegatheringofsabers. I hope to see you there. Thanks again.